Hi, Sandy. Today's training is dedicated, let me make this straighter. Straight enough. To my senior brother, David Shin. And I want to talk about him a little bit. Can you hear me? Good. So my senior brother died 2 days ago, or I was informed of it two evenings ago. And he meant a lot to me and really gave me a lot deeper insight into what I was working on that we both learned from Guolan Yang. So his life was a really deep journey into self-exploration, and I'm going to talk a little bit about my history with him, and then we're going to go on to what he taught me, and I'll explain that right before we do it, and then we can all do it together. So I met David in the mid-60s in San Francisco, Chinatown, and Portsmouth Square Park when he would come to pay his respects to Sifu. And then he disappeared, and I didn't see him again for years. I came to find out where he'd gone and what he'd done, and this will all be in a written text that I'll refer people who are interested to. But what I want to get into is the actual physical practice, because it's something that will benefit a lot of people and innervate what they're already, if you're not already into Kung Fu and Tai Chi and standing meditation, it might get you into it, and if you are into it, it'll give you some really deep feelings from this practice. So, as I've said before, Wang Shenzai originated standing meditation and taught it to Guolan Yang. Guolan Yang taught it to David Shin and me and a lot of other people. We used to do what I came to find out was number 6, which is the universal pose posture. You can see Guo standing in this, in his robes, looking beatific in a lot of pictures. But that's only number 6. Now, each one, as we came to find out the whole thing was called, was developed by Wang Shenzai in the 20th century. And you can see, this is very interesting, you can see pictures of Wang Shenzai standing like Guo. But prior to that, you see one of his students, I think it was a Japanese student, standing like this. So somehow it changed from a narrow horse posture, double weighted, to a one-legged, more. Now, having done both of them, I can tell you the different feelings they stimulate. So standing like this makes you feel very much more martial, and standing like this is confusingly spiritual. It's beyond words. Let me say, you have to try it to there's not a word that really captures how you feel from standing meditation. So what we're going to do is go over each one, and then we're going to do something that I learned from David Chin in a workshop. He used to come to, we used to bring him up from North Carolina, and he'd come up with his crew of merry men, and present material to us that would really enrich our practices. So interestingly, my base was Northern Shaolin. His base was Tibetan Hopkar. So, but what we shared in common was the Guanping Yang Tai Chi. Also, he electively began to call it Guolan Yin family style, because he was such a devout researcher that he traveled back to China to try to find Guanping Yang, the actual place, and it no longer existed. It was redistricted out of existence. But that was the birthplace of Yang Luchan. So admittedly, it was a good name for the form, and Y.C. Zhang, Guo's student in China that has since died, but his school is in Berkeley or Albany. named it Guanping Yang Tai Chi after the birthplace of Yang Luchan, who the form derived from. So, well, I digress. Anyway, he then David started calling it Guolan Ying family style after that, which bothered a lot of people on the in the Guanping Yang Tai Chi Association because they had associated that name with it. But I took David's side because I like David's insights, and David to me was the most deep researcher into that form. So therefore I followed him as my senior brother. Anyway, Henry looks dead now, and he died first, and he was not my senior brother. He was my junior brother, so let's just leave that subject alone. All right, so we're going to go into each one, which has 8 different positions, and I'll explain them as we go. I think we did them last week, so you guys have an overview. So since you know, just so you know what's coming, it's going to be 1, like looking through a music stand, 2, just like an eighth of a turn, thumbs inward, 3 around the belly, 4 under the belly, 5 lines up with the eyebrows, 6 is the universal post, is chest height, 7 is 2 hands pushing down, and 8 is palms face each other. So you're in Pung the whole time, which is ward off position. Hey Herb, welcome. So we're gonna, I'll explain things, so I'm gonna have to talk through this, but generally it's a quiet, silent practice. And you can do this indoors. As the weather gets chilly, your fingers might get cold. So this is standing meditation is perfectly fine indoors. So let's start with number 1. So just like Tai Chi, so the fingers are about 1 to 2 fists apart, and you're gazing into infinity past the fingertips. I would say the pointer finger lines up with your eyebrows. Just to be perfectly exact, they're directly across from your eyebrows. So, all the Tai Chi stuff applies here. Who knew? Lift the crown point. Tip of the tongue on the upper palate. Breathe lightly through the nose. Of course, drop the shoulders. Hollow the chest, hollow the pelvis. Relax into the legs, sink into gravity. So you can start out with 1 minute, build up to 5, which would make it a 40-minute standing meditation. We'll just let's just count 50 breaths for each action. So I'm going to explain things to think about while you do this, because even though your mind will get clear, but there's definitely things that you can deepen the experience and make it more potent if you think about the 6 directions of force. So thought turns into feeling. So the first one, when we say lift the crown point, is infinitely going up. Conversely, infinitely going down. So there's our first 2 thoughts, up and down. Now, notice your hands are in front of you, so think forward infinitely. So feel a force field pulling you forward. And conversely, feel it pushing you back or pulling your back. Equal and opposite. So now we have up, down, forward, back. Good. Feeling that. Now we're going to go to the left. We're either being pushed to the left or being pulled into the left infinitely. And to the right. Counterbalance it. Now you have all 6 forces in play, and you ruminate over that. So this is productive rumination. Usually we're ruminating over things that aren't so productive. This is your chance to produce an energetic force field coming from within. Okay, now that is an estimate of 2 minutes or 50 breaths. Turn your thumbs towards you just a notch. Same things apply. Up and down, forward and back, left and right. If at any point you have searing pain in your shoulders, put your palms an inch below your navel, one on top of the other, and keep the ideas going in your mind of up, down, forward, back, left, right, but give your shoulders a rest. And that way you don't break the stream of consciousness, of energetic, this mind-body energy stream. It doesn't break the flow as much as if you just, in an exasperated way, drop your arms and go, this hurts too much, and what's it for anyway? Now another insight you can add to this is called the inner smile. So you want to feel like a big Cheshire cat grin emerging from your belly. And that helps to get through the austerity of standing meditation. The inner smile. And that's enough to think about right there. That's a whole lot. Now, if you have a hard time with breath counting, one of my colleagues, Robert Nakashima, wherever you are, had an each one watch that would go off every 5 minutes, and then he'd change his posture. So there's lots of ways to do this. All right, let's go around slowly around that pregnant belly, or for a man, think of a beer belly. A big round shape in front of you. Elbows do not collapse. Something funny David used to say is imagine soft-boiled eggs in your armpits. So you're trying to not break the eggs, and you're trying to not drop the eggs. Another one of David's really fun metaphors was using animals. So he would tell you we're standing on 2 baby turtles, and birds were landing on your hands, and he had all kinds of fanciful animal metaphors to enliven this practice. Gazing into infinity. going to go under the belly. Now you're going to take this shape and just make a big arch. Slowly bring it up to eyebrow height. And you can go over your 6 directions of force. Now we're going to go chest height. So your elbows can stay where they are and just move your forearms down so that your palms are across from your lungs and your heart is in between your fingertips. You might need to regroup and go over your 6 directions of force. Just to show what the Wuji looks like, it looks like this. If your shoulders are getting too sore to continue, keep the basic posture. Just give your shoulders a rest, and when they've calmed down, you can try to go back to it, or if you need to just stay in Wuji the whole time, that is also perfectly fine. Okay, turn your palms to face down and slowly drop them. Don't let your armpits collapse in or your elbows are out. Something's pulling your fingertips forward. Something's pulling your elbows back. rotate your palms to face each other. Last one, number 8. Together. Notice the pressure, the force you feel in between your palms. Slowly pull your hands apart. So this part's kind of the dessert after eating a very nutritious meal that's going to give you lots of strength and energy. So enjoy this, savor this. And now we're going to take that force and push it in towards our lower Dantian. And we're going to begin what I regard as the David Chin contribution to each one. It's very interesting. So you're going to take your left hand and form sword fingers, 2 fingers like the pointer and middle finger touching, and you're going to lift on the right, drop on the left. Let me show it. Pointing in towards your lower belly. And this hand is out to sort of ground the other hand. Any number, at least 8, to get a good stir in there. This also has the dual benefit of releasing the shoulder, which has been held still for quite a while. Now let's go to the middle Dantian. So we're doing the diaphragm up through the neck, lifting on the right, dropping on the left. It looks opposite on the video. and upper. So this is interesting because it's going to switch when we go behind. So this is going around your crown point, keeping the circles feeling the same, but it's now lifting on the left and dropping on the right when we go around to the back. So your upper Dantian here, well, it's hard to get your arm around. And now middle, so going the same way with the down on the right in the rear, up on the left. And you've got to flip your arm around, or arms don't work that way unless you're a gymnast. And down to the lower Dantian, behind the hips. And just as you might have suspected, we're going to do the other side. So we were lifting on the right, now we're lifting on the left. Continue to the middle. And upper. And behind the neck. Behind the shoulder, the middle back.